This just in, hot off the presses, Kurama was 1000% right, and Himawari just might be the greatest host for the Nine Tails that we've ever seen. She's been a Jitorki for like what, less than 5 minutes, and is already performing at this high of a level, and at such a young age too. And I can only imagine when she's older, a few years down the line, what she'll be able to do when she has some actual training with Kurama under her belt. Okay, so this week of manga has been way too good for me. Both of my current favorite rom-coms had really good chapters. Eden Zero is shaping up to have, in my opinion, a really impactful finale. Gotta get back to reviewing that. Based on the discourse I'm seeing online, One Piece's chapter is going to be groundbreaking. And then this month's chapter of Boruto did almost exactly what I was hoping it would. All I need now is for the next chapter of Kaiju number 8 that comes out tomorrow as of the recording of this video to be solid, and this really will be the best week of manga chapters I've had all year. Only thing that could honestly make this week any better is if a new Black Clover chapter was dropping too. But let's get back to what's important, talking about how incredibly cool Himawari was in this chapter. Honestly, if I was new to Boruto and you told me that this girl was the main character of the series based solely on the first half of this chapter, I'd probably believe you. The way she immediately took charge after healing Inojin, telling the others to get him help, while she takes on a threat she wasn't even sure she could beat, is exactly the kind of energy you expect from the protagonist. And of course it is, because she even says so herself that she's just doing exactly what her dad and brother would do, the two other protagonists from this franchise, which, by the by, we'll touch on it a little later in the video, but I think that line has a bit more meaning behind it than we originally thought. But for now, let's focus in on her fight with Jura, because while it was brief, it was still one of the best showings we've had post the time skip, the other being from the title character, and both showings had drastically different feels to them. Boruto, besides when he got jumped by the Shinju, in all of his battles since the first post-time skip chapter, has had a very calm approach to his fights. Whether he was up against Kaoki, Mitsuki, or Code, Boruto was written in a way where he knew that even without relying on his karma mark, he'd win. And because of his attitude towards those three, at no point during their fights did I ever believe he was in any danger. But with Himawari, it's the complete opposite. She's tense, she's angry, she knows that this fight is going to be an uphill battle, but also that she is the only one out of the four of them that has even a slight chance of winning. So she's diving headfirst into danger in order to protect her friends. And because of all of that, I was nervous this entire fight for how bad things would inevitably end up going. Now, usually in this situation, when a character gets a major power-up, but they're not narratively meant to beat their opponent, we get a full chapter to showcase just how much stronger they've gotten. Then the following chapter has the bad guy pulling a Uno reversal on them. But this is a monthly manga, and pacing-wise, that would have been way too slow, so we only get about halfway through the chapter before things start to go south. But hey, before that happens, Himawari does end up pulling off some really impressive feats, like healing Inojin, and that really cool stare down she had with Jura right before she ended up knocking him into the sky. I'm not saying that anything we see from Himawari in this chapter is saying that she's stronger than her dad was before he lost Kurama, but she's definitely stronger than he was at her age. Because Kid Naruto at 13 could barely control half of the Nine Tails chakra, while Himawari is over here shooting off Biju bombs. Now, obviously there's a huge difference in the relationship between Himawari and Kurama than there was with Naruto and Kurama at this age, but that's exactly why she has so much potential. From the start, the two are working together instead of working against each other, and based on this early showing, their partnership will be incredible. But unfortunately, that's in the future. Today they got rocked. But hey, at least she wasn't the only one in this chapter, because even when they had a numbers advantage, Sarada's team completely fell apart once she got taken out by a surprise attack by her discount daddy, with Sumeri, Konohamaru, and random ninja number 274 all getting taken out pretty easily. Though I gotta say, one of my favorite parts of the entire chapter is this small panel of the other random leaf ninja with them yelping like a schoolgirl when Hidari looks at him. Also, I like that they pointed out that Hidari doesn't have a Sharingan, and because of that, he can't really use the Chidori in the traditional way, and at least not anywhere near as well as Sarada and Sasuke can. But that he found his own unique way of combining it with his claw marks to make it just as effective. But this does give us a bit of insight into what might be a goal for him going forward, and possibly the reason why he naturally wants to target Sarada, to get a Sharingan. Although I do think there's still more to it, as there's a reason why his instincts are telling him to target Sarada specifically, because if his main goal was just to get a Sharingan, there's about 20 or so clones of Shin Uchiha out there at an orphanage that it would be a much easier target. Anyway, after both Himawari and Sarada get taken out, and just as they're about to be treed, we cut over to Kaoki and Delta, just long enough for them to get tossed to the side for the real hero to show up and save the day, with Boruto swooping in and saving his little sister before using the flying Raijin to teleport the two of them over to Sarada. And that's where the chapter ends with him staring down Hidari. And I gotta say, I'm almost excited about the next chapter as I was about this one because I've been waiting for a chance to see Boruto go all out since this first chapter of this post time skip arc. And this might actually be it. Like, don't get me wrong, I think in a 1v1, Boruto without the karma mark might stand a good chance against just one of the Shinju, but Jura is going to be hot on his tail and more than likely get to them pretty quickly in the next chapter. And this time, he doesn't have the option of running away because of how many people are in danger if he does. So, just like Himawari, he has to take on this uphill battle. But unlike his sister, he'll have Sarada, Himawari, and hopefully Delta and Kaoki to back him up. But Kaoki, dude, I swear, if you ignore the real threat in front of you and decide to focus on attacking Boruto in the next chapter, that's it for you. You will officially go down in my books as worse than pre-Boruto Sasuke. And I hate pre-Boruto Sasuke. Now, real quick, before I end the video, I do just want to touch on that one line from Himawari that I mentioned earlier, where she mentions doing what her dad and brother would do. And keep in mind, this might be a bit of a reach, but I think this might be a hint that Himawari knows Boruto is her brother and not Kaoki. And I feel like that Kishimoto might have been giving us subtle hints that that might be the case since her first appearance post the time skip, with how she talked about how she didn't hate Boruto for what he supposedly did to her parents and how she wanted to help him out. And now with the reveal of her being a Jinchuriki, again, this could be a reach, but maybe she wasn't affected by the Omnipotence. Since she's the first Jinchuriki we've run into post Omnipotence being cast on the entire world, we don't know if it had the same kind of effect on her that Genjutsu would, which is to say, basically none. It could very well be that once Kurama revived inside of her, that she immediately remembered that, oh, hey, Boruto is actually my brother and not Kaoki. Anyway, we'll get a clear answer once all the action dies down, and we get a moment for the two Uzumakis to have a proper reunion. But until then, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this month's chapter.